right, guys, welcome to the stream. Round one is over. We had some upsets. My bracket is broken. Most brackets are broken. But we're going to break it down, see what we can see as the key moments or, sort of at the start and the end of each game and sort of see what broke it. And then after that, we're going to go to round two and those predictions. So let's get it started. So game one was Chris versus Dan, Demons versus Votan. Most people had Votan taking the win here. Dan has a lot of firepower with that unit, or not with the unit, but with the army. And demons, they really have no armor save, so you're sort of always pushing invulns. So going into deployment, this was a tough one. Demons starting on the line, ready to go. Votan a little bit more cautious, bikes around the edges. That's also very good because bikes can then come off, come back on the next turn. But we had some scout moves that the Votan can perform. This one, I think, was a lot closer than we thought it was going to, or I thought it was going to be. I think that was Chris's ability to roll fives. The man can roll fives like there's no tomorrow. I've seen it. I've experienced it. It sucks, but it is what it is. And, there was one point when Dan was like, I think I'm done. But Dan was able to pull this one out. Votan is the winner. Going through the deployment, like I said, Demons on the line, ready to go. I think we're going to step into the key moments. So Dan makes I think it's a 9-inch charge with his block of Terminators, or the Votan equivalent, basically to get in. Now, the problem with this, it was just by the way it worked out, was he couldn't get all of them into attack, but he could get the champion in. Champion goes in, I think does 1 wound. Chris rolls hot on the saves. Dan does not roll hot on the wounds. And as you can tell from picture 1 to picture 2, between the field no pains, I think Slanesh lost 1 wound in that encounter. And then on top of that, just annihilates the champion back because she has precision. She rerolls hits, rerolls wounds into character units. So, and then she just picked up a number of Votan, and all of a sudden Dan's going, oh my God. So, as you can see, demons have got a good presence all over the board. You've got the Demon Prince on the center objective. You got Slanesh down at the bottom holding her own against those Terminator equivalents. And it was a slugfest. But I think without Chris's abilities to roll Feel No Pains and 5-ups, I think this game ends a little bit quicker, but it goes right down to the line. The next slide shows Chris's face. He just couldn't pull it out. Dan gets the victory here. Obviously, the demons had good board presence and they scored really well on primary. Dan not so much, but Dan was able to just get the secondaries out. He had some good pulls, and in the last turn, his bring it down really went off. I think he scored quite high on that for the victory. So I think that kept with most brackets. Going into game 2, you've got Big Pat versus Miles. This one was always going to be an uphill battle for Chaos Knights. Votan just have a lot of firepower, but Chaos Knights can shoot back, and I think that's what Miles found out. But there was just one big thing that sort of kept Miles really solidly in the game. Here we look at deployments. Obviously, Knights on the line, ready to go. You've got the baby Knights ready to rock forward. You got support of the big Knights, and you got Eldar hiding in the corner. So he's got a little bit of aggressive push up here with the Wraith Guard and some War Walkers, but mainly behind this big ruin to see what pops out. Then you go, sort of near. This is near the ending of the game. it was just a lot of fighting. It was just a bloodbath back and forth. So there wasn't any like really. I couldn't really find a key moment of the game, but that Wraithguard block living the entire game and just being able to swallow up that center was huge. And you know, the other big knight had to go back and take back the home objective. You know, the baby knights got picked off. I mean, it was a total bloodbath. But that big block of Wraithguard, I think, just really did it. Again, in the ending, really close. Pat was able to get some good primary. Excuse me. Same with Miles near the end. As you could see, sort of Pat had the lead in that, but the secondaries, I mean, Eldar can just score. So you know, that was sort of the key thing in there was the secondaries. No big upsets here. I think everybody kind of had Eldar over Chaos Knights. Going into game 3, we had Gary versus Liam. Now, a lot of people were picking Liam for the win. You know, Necrons don't die, but there was a huge moment in this game that I think just did Liam in. Liam couldn't recover. If you watch the video, he literally just stares at the board, not knowing what to do for minutes on his clock. And that is coming up where right there, you've got the Black Templar block and the Dreadnought into the Satan. And not only did the Satan, I mean, it went down, but it took a lot to bring him down. I mean, he got tank shocked for mortals. I believe Helbrick does mortals on the charge. And you know, Helbrick was the one to bring him down in the end. Now there were going to be Brethren attacks coming in, but you know, it was a little tight. Like, if they hadn't done all the mortals, it would have been really interesting to see if that Satan goes down. But when that Satan goes down, you know, that takes a lot of utility out of Liam's list. And so, because he can't, you know, with that Satan, you can just advance and teleport it wherever you want. And, you know, losing that was a huge utility piece. Now, you can tell by the final, Gary kind of had his way in this game. Once he killed that Satan, it was a huge leapfrog into the center, and then from there, leapfrog into his lines. And the Lich Guard and the Warrior Blobs just couldn't, you know, do anything about it. And Gary just sort of walked right through the center of the board, and that was it. So that was a big upset in the brackets because a lot of people had Liam taking this one. But kudos to Gary for taking this one. Gary is a very good player, good tournament player, and he played very well. Going on to game 4. We've got Daniel versus Shane. I knew the key to this game was going to be Shane's movement. Shane is also a very good player, good tournament player, and he knows how to play Grey Knights, and he knows Grey Knights, you know, need to be mobile. They need to teleport. They need to move around, and if they can't, that's big trouble. One of the key moments of this, and we'll go through deployment first, is, you know, if you look at Danny's deployment, I think there's a couple mistakes, not many. I mean, not much, actually. I just think, and this goes into the sort of the moment, or one of the big things, is that Terminator block at the top is too much. It's on the other side of the ruin. It's not well protected, and Shane takes advantage of that. Other than that, the other units are protected. They're ready to go. They're ready to come in. You've got some in reserve. But if you notice, the CSM list, it's got a huge footprint, massive footprint. I mean, you know, you've got your Terminators, you got the Cultist Blobs, you know, you've got the Turtle, as we call it, and they can just spread out. And as you can see, sort of near the ending, I mean, the amount of space that they have of the board is huge. It's just, they're everywhere. One of the big things that happened, though, like I said, was this Terminator block was sticking too far out, and I can't remember the name of it now all of a sudden, but the Chaos shooter tank, which I can't now remember, it's got the 3 heads on it. They call it the egg. Just was able to walk up here, dark pack, and just blow this unit of Terminators off the board. I think only the Librarian survived on 2 wounds, and this thing's just nasty. It's just it's a nasty gun platform. Especially with CSM, they can dark pack and they just start getting crazy sustained hits. So, as you can tell, Danny was trying to do some teleporting. There's some Terminators down here trying to threaten this objective, but this entire top board here is just screened right out. And, you got a Rhino holding objective. And I think the big key here, too, were the Obliterators. The Obliterators just come down. They can shoot out of line of sight and once per game, and they just do a tremendous amount of damage. And, at the end of the day, Shane was just able to keep Dan outside of his core and capitalize on that and just score, right? And I mean, if you can keep Grey Knights from getting in or getting around, they have a tough time. They're slow, right, on foot. I was a custodian player. I know exactly what it's about. They're not a fast army. I'm not a fast army, but they do get some nice advancing, but they're not, having assault weapons. So they're sort of, they have to teleport. They have to get into position. So a great game. And I don't think Dan's dice were super hot. But Shane's also just, could just play him to where he wanted to put him. So great game though. Final, as you can see, very little primary because the Grey Knights are just getting picked up and put down, picked up and put down. And if you don't make those 9-inch charges, or you don't make Drago's charge, or you just can't get into position to where you want them, you can't rapid egress them properly or something like that, it's very difficult to score, and you could just see that here. He was able to do okay on secondaries, but by turn 4, I mean, he was basically tabled. The CSM shooting is no joke. I think they just won the London GT, and the dark pack. The funny thing about dark packs is, it's very swingy, right? Because I've seen games where CSM just never make a dark pack. And then I've seen games where they never fail a dark pack and they just roll hot. I was the victim of that down in Tacoma. I got blown off the board by a CSM list. I was able to fight back near the end. And I think I could have almost had the game. Some other things happened and the game never ended. But, CSM has a lot of punch, and that's what happened. So, going into the next round, we have Shane CSM going up against Miles's Eldar. That's this Saturday, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Then on Sunday, we've got Dan playing off against Gary, 10:30 Pacific Time. And just to give you guys another refresher, Game 5, let's look at the armies. Shane CSM lists, right? So he's got those cultist mobs, he's got the Rhino, Dark Commune, cultists, he's got the Terminator squad, that's just a brick. A lot of this is Nurgle, a bunch of it's Undivided, and a couple of Venom crawlers to pressure, and then the Obliterators just, like I said, come down and oblit. Forward Fiend, there we go. That's what it is. The big 3-headed monster. That's going into Miles' Eldar. This is going to be an interesting game. Both shooting armies. It's just going to come down to, I think dark packs are going to play a big hand in this because if he can get the dark packs off and he can really start to get a lot of those sustained hits going or other things with them, I think Miles' Eldar is going to struggle. We don't know. We're going to see. I mean, I think it's going to come down to the Warwalkers. The Warwalkers were big in his game, but again, they're only they're 2 shots. The Hornets are 2 shots, but they're bright lenses. So again, into the Terminators, they're going to pick up Terminators. Definitely can kill the Forge Fiends with this kind of firepower. And both lists are no slouches, so we'll see. My prediction, this is just purely personal. I want to see Shane take it. I hoped Grey Knights are going to go a little further, so now I'm switching over to CSM. I want Shane to take this game and get into the final. Game 6, Dan versus Gary. Dan's list, of course, he's got the characters in there. He's got the champion, the Carl, some warriors, the Sagittars, which are going to split those warriors probably. The broken kind of Thunderkin. I think that's going to be big in this game is the Thunderkin. He only has 6, but they're anti-vehicle. And Gary's list has dreadnoughts. So it's really going to be interesting to see. I think if I would always give this to Dan if he had more Thunderkin in the list. Now he has a lot of Hearthguard, and Hearthguard are hard to remove. They're tough. Selexi just had her way with one squad of them, but they are tough to move. He's got 25 of them. He's got the land fortress. I think my money is on Votan to pick this up, just because anything scary on Gary's side are just going to get judged, right? You're going to be +1 to hit, +1 to wound, 4 units, right? And I think, especially if they're on the dreadnoughts, the Thunderkin are just going to pick those guys up like they're no tomorrow. And then again with the Hearthguard, like the +1 to wound is huge on their melee. So again, let's jump into Gary's list. Black Templar, he's got the big brick, he's got the Ballistus Dreadnoughts, he's got the Centurions, the Infiltrators, with the and then the Sword Brethren with Hellbrick. But again, he's got 4 Dreadnoughts. And again, like I said, it's going to come down to those Thunderkin. I think they are going to definitely make the not the Redemptor, but the Ballistus Dreadnoughts pay, because the Redemptor is -1 damage, so that will help. But the Whirlwind will come into play. The 2 Whirlwinds will come into play for the indirect. But again, I think this is Dan's to lose. Just going through the list, I think is now Gary's a very good player. So if anyone's going to take Black Templars and beat Dan, I think it is Gary has a chance. But I think I'm going to say I want to say a Shane Dan final. So all right. Well, thank you very much for watching. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to keep these videos kind of quick. Please check us out on YouTube. Check out our membership. Again, we do this content, and we're not looking to get rich. We're just looking to get more content out to people. And the memberships really help us do that. It also helps us run these sort of like mini tournaments, and we also run some live events as well. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you after round 2.